Meanwhile, a woman and child are recovering this morning after a dramatic river rescue in Cambridgeshire. They were trapped on the roof of their car after it got stuck in floodwater at Bourne near Cambridge. The fire service had to use a boat to reach them as the water was 5 feet deep. Well, more hospitals in our region have closed wards because of an outbreak of the norovirus. The hospitals affected are the Broomfield in Chelmsford, Southend University Hospital, Colchester General, Bedford Hospital, Addenbrooke's Hospital in Cambridge and the Edith Cavell in Peterborough. All hospitals are advising people not to visit patients if they're feeling unwell. Now then, most of you will know the saying about people in glass houses being ill-advised to throw stones, but it seems that's not their only concern. A group of residents at Basildon in Essex were surprised when they were ordered to take down their communal greenhouse after fears someone might fall off the roof. Tom Barton explains all.
There's one place green-fingered Andre Lebris loves to work. Inside the greenhouse he shares with other residents in his communal garden in Basildon. It's never occurred to him to work on it. Yet it seems the fear of people falling off the greenhouse's roof has led the local housing association to demand the residents take it down. The greenhouse has been in the garden for 6 years after locals clubbed together to buy it. But now St George's Community Housing has said it must be demolished. One resident was told by the association it's because a tenant elsewhere in the district had injured himself falling off the roof of a shed.
For one, I don't think anyone can climb up on the glass because it's too slippery, and if they try to pull themselves up, the gutter will fall off.
Andre says growing fresh vegetables together as a group has helped community spirit.
We're growing our own stuff, it's fresh, which we're encouraged to do, you know, so actually it's brought us more together.
Now the Housing Association have told you that actually they want you to take down the greenhouse. What do you make of that?
Ludicrous. I think it's really ridiculous because it's not hurting no one, it's in nobody's way. It's been put over, as you can see behind me, in the far corner, and it's basically safe.
The St George's Community Housing Trust says that it contacted residents because it was concerned that the greenhouse could pose a risk and asked for it to be removed. They say, however, that they do appreciate residents' disappointment and say that they are reviewing the situation. That review is tonight looking more likely to decide in the residents' favour. The council's deputy leader has written on his blog calling the decision absurd and asking the trust to leave the greenhouse in place while a demolition plan is investigated. Tom Barton, Anglia News, Basildon.
More than £22 million of government money has been pledged to build 560 affordable houses across our region. One area earmarked for development is the site of the former children's home at Wellards Bank Drive in Luton, where 24 new homes will be built. Other towns which will benefit from the money include Kettering and also Corby.
Well, it's always good news when we get more money, especially so in this case because it recognises the way in which the local community in Marsh Farm is gaining ground now. It's beginning to regenerate itself seriously. This is clear recognition by government that that is happening.
Now then, it's likely to be the biggest change in our viewing experience since TVs went from black and white to colour. So, as the digital switchover looms ever closer, the government is stepping up its campaign to remind people what needs to be done. This region switches to digital in 2011, as James Bush now reports.
The reminders are already out there, telling us how and when we need to get ready.
There are three main ways to switch to digital television.
But during the next year, TV ad campaigns like this will become much more high profile to make sure the digital switchover happens as smoothly as possible. The ITV Anglia region has three main transmitters at Sandy Heath in Bedfordshire, Tackleston in Norfolk and Sudbury in Suffolk. In 2011, their existing analogue transmitters will be switched off one by one and they'll broadcast only on a digital frequency.
Basically, it gives people a better quality of service, so more channels, more choice, and new technology means that people get a better picture. People need to obviously make sure that they've either got a set-top box or can receive a digital signal. People who perhaps need the help the most, such as the elderly or disabled people, the scheme that I represent is set up to help those people.
Electrical retailers say most consumers seem to be well prepared for the switchover and very few old-style TV sets are now being sold. The Anglia region won't be the first to switch to digital, and for many of us it may still seem a long way off. But the team working on the switchover say we all need to keep up to date to ensure the transition here is a success. James Bush, Anglia News.
The countdown is on. Right, let's have some sport now. 5 of the region's teams start the new year with a third-round FA Cup tie. Among them, Luton Town. They had the highs of a Wembley final and the lows of relegation in 2009. So can they start 2010 as FA Cup headline makers? Well, Donovan Blake previews the third-round matches.
Luton are still dealing with life in the Blue Square Premier Division, but you'd be forgiven for thinking they're still in the league, having already disposed of 2 of their former colleagues from League 2, Rochdale and Rotherham. Next up, Southampton from League 1, former cup winners who knocked out Northampton in round 2. A much tougher proposition for Hatters boss Richard Money, but they're up for it.
It's a day that everyone in the football industry always looks forward to, and we're no different. We've played well in this competition to get this far, but we know we're going to have to play even better this weekend to give Southampton a game.
As well as Luton, there are 3 other sides looking to be early headline makers in 2010, including MK Dons. Paul Ince's team is the only one from our region with a home tie against Burnley from the Premier League. Not a bad reward for edging a 7-goal thriller with Exeter in round 2. There's Premier League opposition for Peterborough too, Tottenham. They've already met at a pre-season friendly at London Road, but Mark Cooper's team talk at White Hart Lane on Saturday may be similar to that delivered on Monday, sparking that incredible comeback in the league against Cardiff.
We're certainly not going to go there just for a day out. We want to go there and give our fans something to shout about. And somewhere along the line, on Saturday, there'll be a shock, and hopefully we're one of them.
For Adi Boothroyd's Colchester, it's another away tie, this time at Preston from the Championship. And 2 lone players who've made an impact earlier in the competition, Kayode Odejayi in round 1 and John Joe O'Toole in round 2, are set to be permanent buys for the U's, although O'Toole is suspended on Saturday.
Both from Championship clubs, so it shows you where we want to get to. And both of them, I think, have got a lot to offer to us and to the club in general. They're good characters, which is always important for me, and good players that want to improve.
That leaves Roy Keane's Ipswich, who face an all-championship contest with Blackpool, assuming the tie at Bloomfield Road survives the winter weather.
They've had 1 or 2 games called off, of course, and to be fair, when they played down here 2 or 3 weeks, they played some good stuff and they kept a lot of possession, had some good chances themselves. So we know we're going to have to play well if we're going to get a result up in Blackpool on Saturday.
And Ipswich will have to do without striker John Stead. He starts a 4-match ban after Town lost their appeal against his red card at Crystal Palace on Boxing Day. Donovan Blake, Anglia News.
Well, Norwich and Northampton are out of the FA Cup already, but both have league games on Saturday. Norwich hope to close the gap on League One leaders Leeds by winning away at Wycombe, who were in the relegation zone, while Northampton travel to Bournemouth in League Two. Now, there's Rugby 2 on Saturday in the Premiership. Northampton Saints take on London Irish at Franklin's Gardens, with the Saints hoping to leapfrog the Irish into second place in the table there. In the Championship, Bedford travel to Birmingham and Solihull. The kick-off there is at 2. Now, the actor playing Prince Charming in this year's pantomime in Lowestoft went from hero to villain after making scathing comments about the town online. Owen Woodgate, who's appearing in Cinderella at the Marina Theatre, criticised Lowestoft on his Twitter website, Whatever Next, suggesting everyone is pregnant and hoodies dominate the streets. A theatre spokesman said Mr Woodgate had since apologised and admitted on his page that first impressions of the town were way off the mark. Well, that's good. Right, time for that all-important New Year's Eve weather forecast. Here's Amanda.